As we pondered what is at stake in this 2025 NFL season for various players, we stumbled onto this. Josh Allen has the chance to remove his name from a place that no name ever wants to occupy, namely the greatest quarterback never to play in a Super Bowl. Because he is that. And it's getting late early for his chances. Let me explain. Allen has already started 13 playoff games. The most that any quarterback ever started before making the big game was 12. Allen has thrown 25 postseason touchdowns. The most anyone else threw before making the Super Bowl was just 17. That was Peyton Manning, by the way. So Allen is well behind the curve, and candidly, it's not as though he can play much better. The numbers say he might be the best postseason quarterback ever. I told you, he has thrown 25 playoff touchdowns. There are a total of 21 quarterbacks who've thrown at least 20. He's the only one not to start a Super Bowl. In his 4 playoff runs that ended in losses to Kansas City, Allen has accounted for 28 touchdowns and 1 turnover. That is across 10 games and 424 passes and runs. His touchdown to interception ratio in the playoffs, by a wide margin, the best of all time. It's over 6-1. Mahomes is second at less than 5-1. In playoff history, teams that score at least 3 touchdowns with 0 turnovers are 140-19. Allen is the only quarterback to lose more than 1 of those games. He has lost 3 of them, all in the last 4 years, all against Kansas City. So the case on that part of this is closed. Josh Allen is the best quarterback never to start a Super Bowl. The open question is, being still only 29, is there still another level he can take this to change that? So that's what we're looking at as we start this season here. Let me get the guys together. Dominique, did you have an issue in any way with anything I said?
I mean, it's hard to disagree with any of those numbers. I think his career is still very early. You have to mention guys, because most great quarterbacks get to a Super Bowl at least. But I think guys like Warren Moon didn't make it to a Super Bowl, but the numbers aren't nearly the same as what Josh Allen has put up. And, of course, Lamar Jackson's another guy, but he's a current contemporary. But it's hard to imagine that Josh Allen will be kept out of the Super Bowl for much longer because, to your point, he can't do much more than what he's doing.
Well, that's the scary part of all of this. And the reality of it is, look, Warren Moon, through no fault of his own, his NFL career was shortened because the league was where they were at that time, and he wound up having to play in the Canadian Football League for a long time. And Lamar Jackson, whose regular season success has been equal to, if not even greater than Josh Allen's, his postseason performance has been nowhere near what Josh Allen's has been.
Right, and I think when you talk about Josh Allen, you say, you know, he's lost 3 of those games, all the last 3 years, all to the Chiefs. You know, he hasn't lost. You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing.
Rex says it. So Rex says it all the time. Josh Allen has never lost to Kansas City. Only his team has.
Your defense can't keep them out of field goal range with 13 seconds to go. You know, the kicker misses a kick. Like Kansas City is on one of the all-time runs. And that's what Josh Allen has been up against. The Buffalo Bills are good enough to get to the Super Bowl. They just haven't been able to win that one game against that one team.
Is this the year? The Bills are favored in every game they play this year. The schedule for teams in the AFC East tends to be a little weaker, at least what we expect it to be as the season begins. Do you consider this Josh Allen's best chance to finally scale Mount Mahomes?
Nope, I do not. He didn't lose to Mahomes last year. It was Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. It's Joe Burrow a few years ago. Listen, Josh Allen is absolutely phenomenal, and you made a great case for him being the best quarterback to never make a Super Bowl. But we always tend to forget that these guys are technically bunched up at the top with Mahomes sitting at number 1. When it comes to Burrow, when it comes to Lamar Jackson, when it comes to Josh Allen. And what happens now is that we were waiting to see if any other quarterbacks enter the fray. This is no indictment on Josh. Josh is the quarterback who's played well enough against Pat, outside of Joe Burrow, who's beat him, to win. That's the notch that he has on Lamar Jackson right now. Josh actually can turn the film on and say, you know what? I outplayed Pat Mahomes, or I played to a level where my team should have been able to go and compete to win a championship. We've seen Lamar not play to that level. So that's the one side. But we've also seen Lamar beat Josh Allen in the playoffs. We've also seen Joe Burrow beat Josh Allen. And I get all of this talk about the team because I'm one of those guys. I play defense. I like to bring everybody into the fray. But that is not how we gonna frame these conversations.
Mm-hmm.
We always gonna frame them on quarterback against quarterback. So Josh has to get over the hump of, one, getting an opportunity to play potentially Pat Mahomes, but also doing it and his team coming through at the end of the day, because he's played well enough to get them into a Super Bowl already.
I mean, Swagu's point is right. It's about we're going to boil it down to the players, the quarterbacks at a certain point. But you can look through Mahomes' career and talk about all the different things that happened to allow him to have the success he had that he didn't have any impact on. You could do the same thing for Josh Allen for the deep ball to Kincaid, I think it was last year. That was catchable. The one to Stephon Diggs the year before, that was catchable. Like, he's doing the things. And then, of course, the 13-second one, which is
one of the worst losses in postseason history. And the idea that you would put that on the quarterback's ledger obviously makes no sense, but that is the world in which we live. So the people in Buffalo will tell you they are
championships.
Yeah.
But again, championships. Listen, man, for as good as these teams are, and as good as Mahomes has been in these Super Bowl teams we've seen win, everybody that plays football knows that it takes the bounce of the ball the right way. It takes a little bit of luck. It takes those one or two plays going your way. Sure. And the thing that is so crazy about what we've seen the Chiefs do is it always seems to work out for them. But Josh has had those opportunities, and they just haven't been able to execute them. We had a drop pass to Mark Andrews last year that might have sent game into overtime. So, again, it's all of those things.
Absolutely, as it always is. So, again, the folks in Buffalo like to tell you they're New York State's only football team. But we also talk about the Jets and Giants, so let's get in a New York state of mind. Dominique Foxworth, will Jackson Dart and Abdul Carter, looking so far so good, save the Giants coach and general manager's jobs?
I think the answer is yes. I mean, I think the bar doesn't have to be super high. The expectation isn't that you have to win a Super Bowl. Honestly, I don't even think they have to win a playoff game. If Jackson Dart shows promise under Brian Daboll, there's no chance that they're going to bring in a new offensive mind to develop him. Of course, I think that depends also on Abdul Carter being able to help improve this defense. It's going to be a tall order to ask this team to even be competitive in their division. So I think if they can be somewhat competitive in division, I think everyone stays.
Yeah, it's a question of how they're measuring it at the end of the year, because the schedule looks pretty brutal, and you know, there are some obviously areas of deficiency on this roster, but there's some pretty strong areas on this roster. They have a real left tackle. They have a real number one wide receiver. They have a real pass rush. It looks like it could actually be one of the better ones in the entire league. So, you know, they're better equipped, I think, than they have been in recent years. It's just a matter of that ladder that they have to climb.
And brutal schedule.
Yeah, you get to the end of the year, if your ownership, like, do you feel good about Jackson Dart and where he is in his development? You keep the train on the track.
Let's go to the other New York team, and that would be the Jets. Graziano, will Justin Fields thrive in a run-heavy Jets offense?
Yeah, thrive. I mean, yeah, I think there's a good chance he can thrive in a run-heavy offense. The question is, what's the ceiling? Like, how good can he get? And can he develop as a passer to get to the point where he's the kind of quarterback we look at and say, yeah, he could have postseason success? If we get to the end of this season with the Jets and we say he looks different as a passer than we've ever seen before, then I think we might have something.
If nothing else, Marcus, if they're going to run the ball, they're going to shorten the games. They're going to be, at 38 minutes of time of possession, albeit in a preseason game. I get it, but that's the formula. Is Justin and the Jets going to be better than people think this year, Marcus?
I think they'll be solid, better than people think. I'm not sure, because Graz made the point. If you can't throw the football at a high level in this league, you're going to struggle. Like playing keep away and this whole idea of we going to just run it, and you got to be able to be explosive at times, and that's been Justin's Achilles heel consistently over his career as a quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, if their strategy is to keep the game close, that means in the fourth quarter, the game's going to be close. And you're going to have to sometimes lead a game-winning drive. And if you can't throw the ball, you can't do that.
All right, and now let's see if you're convinced of this. That's our next game. Hey, Marcus Spears, are you convinced that Caleb Williams is going to calm all the fans down in Chicago when he makes the start Sunday night against the Bills?
I'm convinced, G. I think Caleb Williams is going to have a solid outing. I think Ben Johnson is going to give him opportunities to make plays, show off what he can do at a very high level, but more importantly, play within structure, be methodical at times, support him with a run game and an offensive line, get him in there, let him show good, and then get out of the game. I think that's the plan for the Chicago Bears.
I find it a little remarkable, and I'm not attributing this to them. I'm attributing this to some of the informed coverage that I heard about them is how minimal the expectation that people seem to have are. Can he get his team in and out of the huddle? Can he get him to the line of scrimmage? Can he get the play called? Can he get the snap? Like, these are not, I don't know that these are things you want to be worried about when you have the first pick in the draft starting his second season. Again, I'm not why are you making that face?
No, I mean, I think there's a sense that last season was not the season they hoped it would be from a developmental standpoint.
Right. He's further back than he was when he started, right? They pushed backwards his development.
He came in further back than like the Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix, the guys that played 5-6 years as starters in college. So, but yes, he didn't get the coaching he needed to get last year. It was a mess. So now they're starting from something like scratch, and I think people have to understand that.
Yeah, I think this is like an NBA-style draft in that you drafted a lot on potential, and I think we expected that potential to materialize more quickly than it has. And so I think part of him getting to where he has to go is getting these basic things down. I don't think he's going to have trouble with any of that stuff, but that's what you want to focus on because they also want to lower the expectations in order to start building momentum for successful weeks. They made us think that all he needs to do is get out of the get out of the huddle on time, complete a couple passes, and we're going to be like, oh, that's great.
Right.
Then they'll build on it from there.
That's fine. But, I mean, it's quite a jump from that to 3 weeks from Monday. Go figure out a Brian Flores defense and beat the Vikings in a huge divisional home game on a standalone national TV game. That's a big leap.
Such is life. Such is life, though. Such is life in the NFL. Yeah. Man, get your ass ready to play, man. Listen, if you can't get your team in and out of the huddle, they need to find another quarterback. And sometimes with these reports, I'm sorry I had that visceral reaction. Sometimes with these reports, it drives me crazy. All right? If Caleb Williams can't get the damn Chicago Bears out the huddle, he can't play quarterback in the NFL. He can't play in college. He can't play for the South Baton Rouge Rams in Pee Wee football. That is minimal, right? We talking about this dude performing at a level when the play is actually happening. He got him in and out the huddle last year. They left him out there to dry certain games. We talked about the offensive scheme. He changed coordinators. He played a little bit better. It's Ben Johnson's job to make sure he understands the information. It's also Ben Johnson's job to decipher if he can process the information. And if he can't, you got to move off of him and find another quarterback. Period. We don't need to talk about getting in and out the huddle. Can he get guys lined up? If you can't do that, that's Caleb Williams' fault, and he needs to take his ass and do something else other than play football.
Okay. That is very well said. And to be clear, we all expect him to get in and out of the huddle, but that is very well said. Okay. Graziano, I love this one. Are you convinced that Travis Hunter needs to just play one position in the NFL?
No. If you encountered a unicorn, would you be convinced that it had to choose between flying and walking? No, you would not. You would want to see it run, and you'd want to see it jump. Like this is a wonderful story. This is so exciting that we need to see him play both ways. He wants to do it. They want him to do it. They wouldn't have paid what they paid to draft him otherwise. I can't wait to see how this comes together. And look, I've been doing this show for a while, about 6 years, something like that.
Yeah.
I've often been accused, unfairly, I think, of being a wet blanket in some regards. Why am I the opposite on this when other people are saying, oh, no, he needs to pick one side of the ball or the other? No, this is awesome. Let's see it.
I was with you, but unicorns can't fly?
Why not? You can't?
No, that's
always
Pegasus.
Flying.
Unicorns have a horn.
Yeah,
I think the obvious pushback on this is that unicorns don't exist. And so the connection to that would be the connection to that would be that
a deep dive on
two-way players in the NFL also don't exist. I mean, it's not possible to do. I would love for him to be able to do it, but I'm pretty convinced it can't be done.
They don't exist until they evolve into existing. Like I like sports because it's cool.
Yeah.
Like I understand if I were Travis Hunter or if I was his agent or his family, I might be being all strategic about how to do this and do that. Not me. Give me more Shohei.
Yeah.
I want all the Shoheis that I can have. I want when I am sitting on my deathbed telling my great-grandchildren about the life I led, I would like to say, I saw Travis Hunter play a full game, both sides of the ball.
You know what you didn't see? You didn't see Shohei Ohtani tackle Derrick Henry, and that's one of the jobs that he's supposed to have. Marcus, can this happen? Can Travis Hunter play both ways?
Man, I hate saying something can't happen, but I just don't think it can happen because physically, the rate of injury probability that will go up for Travis Hunter trying to do both of these things in the NFL is probably, I wish we could quantify it. I wish we could figure out what the percentages were of having a real injury or having real issues as you go throughout a game. I think from a body standpoint, like as far as your win and your energy, I think he could do it. But G, you just brought up the biggest point, brother. And Foxy knows this as well. You can't cut O-linemen no more when they pulling on a zone read. You can't get down on their knee. They big ass gonna hit you. What is he gonna do when Trent Williams and him are lined up? He got to avoid, because he also, in his mind, got to go on the other side and play wide receiver. Those are the issues. It's not the fact that Travis Hunter can't do it from a physical standpoint. It's the fact that these coaches are smart enough to not allow you to do it. I'd run at him every single time I could if he was just coming off the field playing wide receiver. That is the issue, not that he can't from a physical or a talent standpoint.